Hey everyone, I'm Steph,
Megan.
and welcome to another episode of Late Night Reads.
This week we are diving into the magical world of romantasy and covering Chained by K.A. Riley. Hey girl!
Let's start with why we selected Chained. We're big fans of the Thrall series. We started reading the first book, Thrall, for our first podcast episode ever, and then quickly decided we needed to cover the entire series on the show.
Yes, obsessed.
Obsessed. So we thoroughly enjoyed learning about the Peaks and Soleia's journey in the fourth book, Bound. So we had to immediately read this book when it came out just a couple weeks ago. And this book continues on Soleia's and Bastian's journey and turns everything we think we know completely upside down in typical K.A. Riley fashion. It is full of twists and turns and left us counting down the days until the next book in the series comes out later this fall. And if you haven't heard us say this before, we're going to say it again. We just think that more readers need to know about this series specifically and the phenomenal world building that K.A. Riley creates. It's one of our top reads of the entire year.
Yes, we love it so much. And here are a few things that you should know about our lovely author, K.A. Riley. So, first, she is a Canadian. Hey, what's up, Canada? And we love to support our friends across the border. She has written both adult and young adult books, so keep that in mind when you look at her other books. But this one is definitely for adults. She is super active on social media, including TikTok, and does not shy away from sharing her beliefs. So, we love an outspoken woman. And she has written more than 40 books within the fantasy genre, with all of them being part of various series. Go check them out for sure.
So, before we jump into discussing the book, a couple of key reminders. This episode will contain spoilers. We assume if you're listening, you've read the book, you've been warned. This book does contain a number of topics that may be sensitive to some readers: assault, blood, death, kidnapping, murder, violence.
Yeah. Yeah, everything. But now let's talk tropes. So first you have fated mates or tethered. We have Soleil and Bastian. They are tethered mates. They feel this extremely strong bond to each other. They can mind talk, which is really cool. And they just can't keep their hands off of one another when they're together, which we absolutely love. Next, you have touch her and die. Bastian was protective over Soleil from the very beginning of Bound, and it only intensifies in this book. He would burn down the entire world for her and kill anyone that might harm her, minus his sister. He does draw the line at hurting Karis, but still, anyone else, you're done. Next, you have Chosen One. It becomes very clear in this book that Soleil is part of some prophecy similar to what Shara experienced in the first 3 books of the series. She's likely going to work with Aimee to help bring Seasons back to the Peaks and then end Sylvan's disastrous rule.
All right, in terms of every magical twist, there's a lot that happens. This book picks up immediately after the end of Bound, where we saw Bastian being a badass that he is and bringing down the entire cavern mountain to rescue Soleia. And we stand by our previous statement. He's more powerful than we know, and it's hot.
So hot.
So
it's
hot.
so hot it could melt the frozen area of the Peaks.
Wouldn't that be nice if that was the solution?
That'd be so great.
That'd be so great. So she's also more powerful now because she was injected with these other powers by Saint, and we start to learn what those are. So we know that she has the power of a poisoner, but Soleia and Bella, because we love Lady Mindfuck,
Lady Mindfuck.
That still would be the best name. That's what she is in my heart.
Yeah.
They don't know what all these other powers are that she was injected with, but she'll find out as they manifest. I'm like, sounds great. You won't know what you're capable of until it happens.
Could go wrong.
No big deal. What could go wrong?
No big deal.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
And that doesn't take very long because literally the next minute she can see through Bastian's eyes temporarily. And then she has all of this pain because it's like Saint has a grip on her mind and can see where they are. And I'm like, that sounds like a lot. So let me get this straight. In the last book, she got Bella, who could read her thoughts and talk to her. Now she gets to experience another person that feels like they're in her mind too. How is this poor girl not traumatized?
Oh my God. Seriously, it's insane.
And then I started wondering at this point, could she be injected with some sort of power that's a tracking device that would allow Saint to constantly monitor her movements and what she's doing, since we know he knows that she'll go search for Aimee. So that was kind of where my head was.
Yeah, I think so.
So Bastian and Soleia go back to Netherfield Mansion to get Karis, who is currently under watch by like the council guards, and they discuss the potential of Shara trying to heal Karis. And I'm like, what? Do we think that's a good like? Do we think that's possible? And Bastian's like hopeful because he knows Shara is super strong, but the past healers that he's tried to do this over the years have been unsuccessful. And he gives her a sedative and warns the guard watching her not to make contact with the High Council for at least 12 hours. And like the guard is scared enough of Bastian that he like actually listens. And then they head up to the inn to meet up with Shara. And I'm just like, I know that you gave her a sedative. Did it work immediately? And two, like, she lit you on fire with blue flames. Like, do we think a sedative works?
Maybe we should double it.
Maybe we should like a horse tranquilizer, maybe?
Yeah, seriously. Like, you need a cray-cray girl tranquilizer, you know? Like,
yes.
Oof, is gnarly. So then, as soon as Soleil sees Shara, she has another painful episode where she hears someone speaking into her mind, saying that she needs to tell them where she is or they'll find her. She assumes this is Saint. And are we 100% convinced it is him? Or is that just an assumption that Soleil's making since he's the one who injected her? So almost immediately, Shara can see at least two of her powers in Soleil and comments that one is a strange power that she doesn't quite understand, and it has something to do with being careful with what you wish on people, which is likely referring to the power she unknowingly uses when she ends up significantly aging Saint later in the book, being like, I wish I could just, take all your power. And Shara also doesn't think she should try to extract Soleil's new power unless they become too much, because these new gifts could actually prove to be useful in the future, so who knows? But it makes us wonder what all Shara knows about Soleil's future that she's not sharing with her in this book, similar to how Thorne knew more about what it was in store for Shara than he let on in the first 3 books. Speaking of Thorne, he's supposedly on his way to the Peaks and should be there in a couple of days. We're still very curious about where he's been. Like, what are you doing? How can you handle being apart from Shara for so long? Like, she's your tethered mate. Aren't you, like, in agony? And we also learned that they can't go back to cavern just yet, so it hasn't been 5 years since they left, because that was one of the stipulations. So there are only a handful of friendly lands between the Peaks and cavern, and the rest that want Shara and Thorne dead for one reason or another. So we just definitely want to know, like, what is going on, what more is happening, especially since Maud says Soleil doesn't want to know what they did.
We do.
But we want to know. But there's one point where there's like an interaction between basically what Bella thinks of Maud, and Bella's comment about Maud is literally, she's a snooty twat waffle. And like, a twat
like, how
waffle?
does she come up with these phrases? Like, also,
a twat waffle.
Like, what is that?
I'm dying. Well, it's too funny.
It's so funny because like Maud's like kind of like the prim and proper little helper, and like Bella's, well, Lady Mindfuck is. I mean, she's
you got Lady Mindfuck and Twat Waffle, your little angels,
or devils, one of the two.
Yeah, it's true. They're definitely devils, but it's just so funny, and I'm just like, I loved that line so much. I just had to share it.
It's so good.
It's so good.
And so the other thing about Shara is Mercutio pops up again. So this is when I was like, damn it, I guess that's really Shara and not someone posing as her. Like, the mouse makes it real.
Yep.
I don't know what else to say. But it's going to be a major challenge to find Aimee because she's currently veiled, which is kind of the first time I think we've heard about someone being veiled before, which means like not even a seer can find her, and someone extremely powerful must have their hands on her. So that leads Bastian suggesting that Evan Graves, like, they go to him for help, which is also the High Commander and Bianca's father. And we theorized last book that perhaps Evan was Aimee's father and Bianca helped kidnap Aimee, but like none of that turned out to be true. And I felt real dumb when I was reading this, and I was like, I was so convinced that was going to happen. Nope, no,
yeah,
not
true.
Not at all.
Not
true.
the case.
Not the case at all. So the plan for Bastian and Soleia is to go to the High Council's palace to speak with Evan while Shara watches Karis and hopefully, I guess, hopes the sedatives work. I don't know.
God, I hope so.
right? Extract
Yeah.
some of her powers. I'm also thinking, like, you're in an inn. If Karis is screaming like she was in the manor, like, don't you think people are going to notice or hear it?
Are they gonna soundproof the walls? I mean,
I guess they could maybe with like
it's
Shara or
true.
Thorne's powers, especially when he gets
Yeah.
there. But they believe like Aimee is so valuable that whoever has her is likely keeping her safe for a while. Or is like, I guess, as safe as you can be with someone who kidnaps you. Like
Yeah.
they're probably not going to kill her because they need to use her. At least not right away. I'm like, is that supposed to make me feel better? She's a
Yeah,
child.
exactly. I still don't like this scenario. No.
I don't like any of this. So Shara, Bastian, and Soleia are all currently veiled. And she's going to have an update installed to Bella that should give Soleia life when she needs it the most. Which, like, we learned later is bringing Bella to life literally. But, like, Shara doesn't provide Soleia with that level of information. She just waits for her to experience it. And I'm like, Shara, where were you in book 3? Remember when people did this shit to you in Queen and you didn't like it? Perhaps, I don't know, pot meet kettle. Like, I was just like, what do you, just tell your sister what's going on. But anyways, so Bastian and Soleia have been like wanting to like basically fuck this entire time. And so they're ready for some alone time. But like, she's like, I don't want to go to our room. I just like want to wander around town. I'm like, why? Why?
Go have sex.
Go to your room.
I want you to go do this too.
They end up doing that, but in an alleyway. And it's like dirty and extremely hot, like all at the same time, which we'll talk about later.
At the same time. Yes.
But like,
it was good. It was very nice. I liked it.
It was very nice.
And then the next day, Bastian and Soleil head to Caldwell, and Soleil notices how many hungry people and cold people are on the streets, which is like a little surprising since we've been told about the peaks is that High Council provides for everyone. Clearly, they're not providing enough. The people are having to like literally beg for food and are just freezing to death. Bastian thinks it's possible the High Council is doing this by design to keep some people suffering so they don't find the strength to rise up. That's very poignant thought, given what's happening in the world today, and perhaps how politicians create distractions and strife to keep people from having the energy to fight back. But we do. We will always fight back.
Yes.
And Soleil is also surprised to see the High Council Palace doesn't have the opalescence that she thought. The description reminded me of a prison or school building rather than a palace. Some foreshadowing to the difference that we see later in the book when Soleil goes back under the mountain and experiences what true wealth actually looks like. And by the way, did we mention that Bianca is joining this meeting? Oh, lovely. We love her so much. No. Great. Bianca walks in with her father, Evan. So excited to see her. And then in this scene, she's just like up to her bitchy ways and really wants to push Soleil's buttons. And you're like, girl, come on.
Like,
can you not?
He's not your man.
No.
Back off. So we learn a lot during this conversation with Bastian, Evan, Soleia, and Bianca. So number 1, Evan is not happy that she knows about the cavern and says telling her about the Obsidian Sky could result in death for both of them. Great. Evan's very concerned about the potential of Bastian seeing the city. Like, he has a very negative reaction about that. But then when Bastian's like, oh, I haven't seen it, himself, he was like, oh, he like kind of calms down. So clearly, like, that is a big point of contention. He also claims that Bastian doesn't understand how the peaks work and how he does everything possible to protect the people, which we learn is actually the case, right? Like,
yeah,
at least it doesn't work like we think. And whether or not Evan does everything to protect the people is a different story. But like, he clearly is not the one in control.
Yeah, he's not the bad guy.
No.
He's still a bad guy.
Well, to be determined. I guess to be determined. He did lock them up.
I mean, yeah. But he's not like the worst of the worst.
He's not the worst of the worst.
But still bad.
Still bad. Still not our favorite. So supposedly his hands are tied and he has to rely on what's traded and sold since the peaks are a wasteland. And then Bastian shares his belief that the Obsidian Sky actually run the peaks, not Evan. Which, like, Evan doesn't deny. Like, I read through that a couple of times. Like, he kind of skirts around the topic. And Bianca does say if people knew the truth, then they would lose their minds. I'm like, do you really think the people are that dumb? Maybe we should just tell people the truth. and not like the death cast nonsense that you do. So Soleia then steps up and says, like, I saw Loomis under the mountain. I want to know why there's sunshine and warmth there and not in the rest of the peaks. And then Bastian wants to know why the Obsidian Sky is interested in his niece, Aimee. And Evan has like a really strong reaction and says, that child could change the course of every life in this land, depending on who like manages to harness her power. And I was like, that is a lot of shit to put on a child.
Yeah.
Like,
seriously.
And then we see that Evan's taken an oath where he can't speak about what powers Aimee might have. And I'm like, to Aimee's uncle? Like, what?
Why can't you just
Is this like a blood oath? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So
now I'm curious. Does he have a tattoo? Does he have his own little thing that like prevents him from doing it? Like he
potentially
physically can't, or he'll
is
die.
And like Sylvan can hear everything. Good point. Great question. So Evan wants to find Aimee and intends to use her, but he won't share why or how. Just that it would be better for Aimee in the peaks if the High Council has her rather than the Obsidian Sky. And I'm like, she is not a piece of property. She is a child. So he orders Soleia to go find Aimee and bring her to the palace, and Bastian will stay at the palace as collateral. Great. And I'm like, well, how's that going to work? Because like Bastian's really strong. Well, apparently there is someone stronger. It's called a Lancer who can take control of Bastian's mind and hold him in a mental prison so he can't act or protect himself or protect Soleia. He does that, and like Bastian's like frozen. I'm like, great. It made me think of the Santa Claus 3 when Jack Frost like freezes people and like. Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
So
I agree. And you're like.
Yeah, I'm like, this is not great. So the Lancer frees Bastian for a few minutes so he can talk to Soleia, and he tells her to protect Aimee at any cost and not worry about like what they do to him. And I'm like, you know she's not gonna listen to you. Like, yes, she'll do whatever it is to protect Aimee, but she's not gonna like give up on you.
Yeah, no.
So then she's like, well, I'll trade myself with Bastian. Like, Bastian is more likely to find her. And Bianca's like, I want to keep him. I intend to play with him while you're gone. I'm like, bitch, back off, man. No. But she does play, like, we later learn, like, Bianca's character might be different than we think, but she does play this role so convincingly in the previous book and in the first part of this one. And then he says that you have to let me know if Karis ever speaks, because if she returns from the brink, then she would be a danger to everyone. I'm like, what does that mean?
What does Karis know?
What does Karis know?
Say?
Is it just about the truth about Sylvan and the Peaks? Does she know something more?
Is about Aimee's power? Like,
right. Like, what is it?
So then Soleil leaves the High Council Palace and she's devastated, but thankfully she has Bella, who understands this like cryptic message that Bastian said to her that has to do with Pilot and his whereabouts. ... allowing Bella to track Pilot, who, guess what, was last seen with Aimee. It's like, great, tracking device. Maybe that would have been helpful earlier to know. Just saying. But, you know, that's why now they're heading straight to Weston. And Bella will then use Soleil's arms and feet to drive the rounder for her. Because, you know, she's like, I don't know how to drive this thing. Don't worry, I got you.
Got you.
But what a terrifying experience. Like, your body is not your own. You're just like driving. Like, are you checking? Are you changing lanes? And
I would just like, close my eyes.
Right? Is that what people do when they drive a Tesla? I mean, I would never drive a Tesla, but still.
I don't know. I would never drive one either.
No, thank you. So once they're in Weston, Soleil ports into a house where Bella says that's where Pilot is, and she immediately finds the dead body of Mrs. Whitby, which is less than ideal. She's like, I just stumbled into her, and oh my god, she's dead. Ooh. Moments later, a blade is against her throat from a member of the Sisterhood of the Assassins that Bastian had mentioned earlier to Soleil in the previous book. So we know that they're eventually going to come into play later, because somewhere, but we didn't expect them to be involved in Aimee's kidnapping. Like, what? Why? So this assassin tells Soleil that she can either fight her and have a chance at survival, or die right now. And like, great options, yes. And this is a moment then where Bella stops responding to her. And we were so frustrated reading this part, because like, Bella, come on, like, you talk a big talk about like wanting to kill people and everything, and like, if only I had a hand to like kill someone. You're like, come on, that's your chance. And Soleia's like, I need your help. Take over my body. And she's all quiet. And Soleia's like, well, shit. I guess I'm gonna die. But she like tries to fight, doesn't do well. And then Bella shows up and like kills the assassin. Like literally has just manufactured this like being that is Bella and just like can become like a weird conjured up vision person that's like physically able to be there and just like murders for Soleil. So we're like, was that the update? Thank you. So I guess Twat Waffle helped.
Well, it's like, do you remember when Shara got to the Capitol and she got like the update of the maps and stuff? And I was like, oh, like, is that what she's gonna get? No, she gets like a hologram that can murder.
Yeah, holy crap. Is that what the next Apple update is gonna be? Siri comes to life and can like kill someone? Oh my gosh, she just heard me.
I yell at Siri all the time.
Yeah. Or the
not
Alexa.
very nice things.
Yeah, you're like, don't record me. Anyway. So, was not expecting that, basically, for, you know, Bella to have her own body to murder. But she was happy about, you know, she's like, yay, I get to murder someone. Murder happy. So, that's done. And then they're like, well, Aimee's still not here. We gotta go find her. So, they get another major shock here that Cassia has Aimee. Turns out she was the Truthminder, and now we discover she's a member of the Sisterhood of Assassins, who has been undercover with the Obsidian Sky for years. So she was the lady like at the very front that could tell people are lying when she met Saint, that whole thing. But I guess like she can't tell a lie as a Truthminder, so she's very careful with her word choices. We know so many people like that, I guess.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. And there are members of the Sisterhood of Assassins in every single land. So I'm like, is there one in Cravan? Probably. They just watch every government and make a move when they need to. I'm like, can we have some?
Can you send them to America, please?
Can you send them to America? We need some sisterhoods.
We are currently burning.
Yes, please. They were even watching Shara. Like, and if she hadn't managed everything on her own, then they would have intervened. But to what extent and what outcome, we don't know, because they didn't have to. But we know that they're here, and they're real, and they have Aimee.
I did not expect to see Cassia involved at all. I was really shocked. And then we find out she's also a nebulous, which means she can slip inside someone's mind and mess with their sense of reality, which she like would do to Saint anytime he started to doubt her. And then she demonstrates that power to Soleil. And I'm just like, can we stop getting in her mind?
It's like there's already someone else in there. Like Bella's in her mind. There's no room for anyone else.
She does not have space for anyone else.
No.
And then Aimee, which made me wonder if like, was she the person getting in Soleia's mind, not Saint? Those previous two times, right?
Yeah. Possibly.
So she shares like her assignment from the Sisterhood is related to the precarious balance of power within the peaks. And Aimee can't put her powers in the wrong hands or it will be utter chaos. And then she makes this comment that I think is going to be important later, that when the Sisterhood owns you, your own desires are insignificant. So given what happens at the end, I feel like that's going to be a really important line. And then Cassia tells Soleia that she can join the Sisterhood and understand, like, they're out to save the world. Okay. I mean, in their own way, I guess.
But, like, do we have to kidnap kids?
Right? Do we? Do we need to? Or kill people? Like, what did Miss Whippy do to you?
Yeah, right? She's great.
Like, she could have brought you dinner. She was
Maybe Miss Whippy could have joined.
You don't know, right?
You don't know.
So when she like asked her to join, I'm like, why would she do that? But I think it's just like another like nugget of foreshadowing of like what's going to happen in the next book, or what we think is going to happen in the next book based on like what happens at the end of this book. So, and then Cassia and Aimee are gone. Soleia only found them because she wanted them to be found. She was like, you found me because I wanted you to find me. I wanted to talk to you. And then I'm like, is Cassia more on Soleia's side than we think at this point? Like, which I think the answer is yes, especially given like what starts to happen later.
But you're still like, I don't know if I can trust you.
I don't know if I can trust you because we trust no one in these books, especially in a K.A. Riley book. We cannot trust anyone. So Soleil goes back to the High Council Palace without Aimee, and like Evan is pissed. Oh, shocker, a man's pissed. Bianca's pissed. He didn't get what he wanted. Let me throw a tantrum. And then he throws like a tantrum. He has her taken by the guard, put in his cell, since like, he's like, well, blades are criminals in the peaks. And I'm like, for the love.
Don't be a douche. But I guess that's
Don't
all
be a
you are.
douche. But that's all you are. So she is having a hard time communicating with Bella because they put a bracer on her. So she can talk to her, but it's not as strong. And there's like definitely some limitations. And she can't communicate with Bastian at all. So before they've been able to kind of like mind talk, and that seems to be like completely gone. So a couple of days later, a seer, Malia, stops by to see her in her cell and mentions that Soleia will be faced with some decisions in the near future, and alludes to being similar to, alludes to her being similar to Shara, which made me think of Lady Allegra, and what she told Shara and Queen, right?
I can see that. Yep.
And so then she asked Soleia, if you had to choose between someone you care about or the whole world, who would you pick? And she chose to save the whole world. Because when Cassia asked her a similar question, like, could you kill someone you loved? She said she couldn't. And Cassia said that was the wrong answer. Well, apparently this is also the wrong answer, because for the seer who wanted her like to see, she's like, I wanted to see what you were made of, but you didn't give me the response I was looking for. And I was like, what does this mean? But it definitely made me feel like this felt very much like Lady Allegra, like you're gonna have to make some hard choices type of stuff, which I don't think we see her necessarily make in this book. So I think it's like foreshadowing what's gonna come in book 6.
Yes. So then fast forward 3 more days and Bianca shows up in her cell and you're like, go away.
Right.
But time for the biggest shock of them all. Bianca never cared for Bastian. She's like, no, I don't want him. I never loved him. He's yours. You have him, whatever. She's like, you are the best shot at finding Aimee, and I'm going to free you to go be with Bastian for the night. And like, see that little camera over there? Like, boop, I'm going to get rid of it and play some loops so no one will know you're missing. Like, wait, Bianca, are you trying to trick me?
That's what I thought. I was like, this is a trap.
It's a trap. It's a trap. You want me to go and be with your ex-fiance, and you say you never had any feelings. I don't buy it yet.
Yeah.
But apparently Bianca is just playing the part for her father, because she was an actress, and for the High Council, but she's definitely working behind the scenes on some bigger causes to like help her. Basically, she wants to protect Bastian and Soleil. And I'm like, okay, I don't know if I believe you, but for the sake of being able to see Bastian, okay, sure. So Soleil is out of the cell and able to find Bastian within the palace, and she shares everything that Bianca has told him, or has told her, and he believes her. He's like, yeah, I believe Bianca and her plans. Like, I believe this is going to happen. He's like, my plan for Soleil and Karis, like, once she's healed by Shara and Thorne, like, we're going to go to the depths to get Aimee. And that sounds honestly a little bit crazy considering how far gone Karis is. And it's like, okay, I mean, like, I'm glad you have a lot of faith in Shara and Thorne and like in their abilities, but let's also just be open-minded that things could easily go to shit.
Let's take a breath.
Just, let's not count our chickens. Like, that's just, it's okay. So Bastian then also shares that that fledged, how do you say that? Fledged, yeah.
Fledged? Yeah.
Basically Aimee.
We'll go with that.
The fledged come into their powers young, of course, as we know, but they are chaotic, and they just don't have the ability to control them until the age of 15. So Aimee's got some ways to go, some years to go. And it means it's highly unlikely anyone would kill Aimee since she's so young and can't use her powers yet. So then we see Bastian make a terrible assumption, which is that perhaps Cassia is bringing Aimee to the depths so her father can protect her. Aw, you're so pretty, Bastian. You're just so pretty.
So cute. That's what I thought.
We were so wrong.
Yeah.
So
wrong.
So Bianca promised them a night together, and then she'll help them leave in the morning. And so Bastian's like, let's take advantage of this. And Soleil's like, are you sure? And he's like, yes. And they get super hot and steamy in the bathroom. Shadow Daddy comes to play, and oh my god, I was so here for that. We'll talk about it later. But they also can mind talk again now, so that's good. And that is also very, very
hot.
Pleasing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're here for it.
So here for it.
So next morning, after sexy time, Bianca shows
Mhm.
up and tells Soleia that she needs to morph into a guard to escort Bastian out of the palace. They should leave Caldwell and not return until the time is right. Which also feels like something I've heard before, maybe in book 3. So while her father like will look for them, Bianca's like, I'm gonna see to it that he doesn't find you. And I'm like, what is your plan? Like once they're gone. But her like what she does, she gets them out of they get out of the palace without any problems, and they're able to leave and go back to the inn. So once they're there, like Bastian walks in.
When she morphs into the guard, and
Yes.
Bastion's just like, "Oh,
Hmm.
I'm a little turned. You're kind of sexy," and she's like, "Oh, well, let me know, and I'll just transform into this guy and take you from behind." And it's like, Bastion.
We'll role play this later.
Yeah, it's like, oh my. He's like, I'm
Didn't
not
see that coming.
usually into this. I know. I was like, oh, okay, Bastion. All right. Interesting.
Interesting. Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see.
And then they get back to the inn, and it's like, I'm like, does no one lock their doors at the end? Like, they could just walk into the room. So Bastian finds Thorne injecting something into Karis and, like, freaks out. And Thorne's like, it's like an antidote. Like, hey, don't kill me.
Whoa.
It's an antidote. And it's been a struggle, but they've been able to remove some of her powers. And she did briefly speak. Okay? And then Thorne's like, I anticipate she'll remember very little about what she's been through the past few years once we're fully done. She should be able to return to who she was before Saint injected her with all the powers. And I'm like, really?
You sure about that?
You sure about that?
Oh.
I don't trust you. And then I'm like, and then I also was like, I know we saw Mercutio, and that made me think that this was definitely Shara and Thorne, but what if it's not?
Just like, I trust no one.
Trust no one.
Mm-mm.
So although Karis like doesn't wake, she does appear to be getting better. Like we see like some of like her color changing and she looks more like alive. But then Soleia like senses a fear from her now that's bigger than she did when Karis was like super crazy with all of her powers. And I'm like, that does not sound great, which is more foreshadowing to like what's going to happen. And I'm also like, it's interesting that that Soleia is able to sense things now because I don't remember her being able to do that in the previous book.
So it's like, oh, you mean you're more scared of her when she's sleeping in this bed with color in her face than you were when she had her crazy violet eyes trying to kill you?
Yeah.
That's not good.
That's not good. Not good. So then we finally have a really good scene, which I think was one of the most in-depth conversations we've seen between Bastian and Soleia about like their feelings, their previous history, like how they've both felt very unworthy and how much like how they feel about each other. And I think it just kind of really shows how similar the two of them are. Okay, then we get like the weirdest nightmare that at first I was like, this is creepy. What is this about? So Leia has a very odd nightmare about being in Loomis and seeing Aimee along with other children working in some underground mine. And it's like really bizarre. And then until we learn like who Aimee's father is and what happens to his other children. But it reminded me of Throne of Glass and the mines there. Like that's what I thought of.
Yeah.
But like with children, which is wrong. Child labor is wrong.
Don't do that.
Do that.
And if that's not enough, Shara and Thorne need to talk to Soleil alone because Thorne has a vision. Because remember, he can, kind of have a little bit of like seer history in him, but he can tell her a little bit about this vision, unlike the ones he couldn't tell Shara about in previous books. So according to Thorne, Aimee is in danger, but not from Cassia. Then Thorne shows her part of his vision of Soleil killing Karis. You're like, what?
And what was the purpose of showing her that?
Yeah, I still don't understand. I'm just like,
I don't either.
Okay. So then Shara shares that she felt a surge of power ever since arriving into the peaks, and that her instinct is this power is coming from Aimee's father, but no one is a match for his power. So they're like, oh, this is intense. Like crazy. So it's like, okay, you have this insane dream, and now you're being told that you're going to kill your mate's sister. What the fuck?
And Aimee's dad might be the most powerful person in the world.
No big deal. No big deal. It's fine. Cool. It's fine. So based on this random information that is so not helpful or specific, Soleil decides to go to the depths by herself because she's like, well, I can't kill his sister if I'm not near her. Like, well, I mean, yes, but also like
Also,
you can't alter the future that way. Like it's just clearly this is going to happen. But it'll be fine. You're just reckless. It'll be fine. She gives big Shara vibes here. And it's clear even though the two of them like didn't grow up together, they share a lot of the same personality traits. So Soleil heads to the Netherfeld Manor, where she originally, found Bastian, to then seek out Silic. Because she's like, maybe he will help me. Like, I know I'm not his favorite person, but he likes me more than he likes Bastian, so let's see. And the good news is he really doesn't like Saint. The bad news is he's not going to go with her. But he does agree to take her to an entrance and give her some money to use while she's there. So we're like, okay, all right, like you're helping us out. But we see a dagger tattoo behind his ear with like a red scar through it, which at first doesn't really seem important in this part of the book, but becomes a very, very strong symbol later. He also shares that Aimee's father is a man named Sylvan, and he is as powerful as blades can be and not quite human. So like, yeah, I'm like, he's like the alpha and omega, and it's like a living god. And you're like,
what?
is he though?
Is he?
So at this point, we're like, okay, obviously like Evan Graves is not Aimee's father, and this guy is, and he's scary. Like,
Right.
she's like, is he violent? It's like, no, but he can be. It's like, he could be very destructive if he chose to be. And you're like, that's not helpful. But okay, I'll go meet him anyway.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Soleil, it'll be fine.
So once she enters the depths, she sees a message on the wall that says, the Lightbringer must die and the light must cease. The seasons must come again. And it reminded me of that message we saw in Queen about how the Queen would save us all. So definitely foreshadowing what's to come in the series regarding Sylvan and probably the role that Soleia, Aimee, and others are going to play. It also made me think that somehow the Obsidian Sky was controlling the weather and the peaks, even though like at this point I couldn't figure out like how they were doing it. And I still have a lot of questions about how that's all working. But that's what I started to like think when I saw that. So Soleia senses Saint, and so she morphs into a middle-aged woman and goes to buy some clothes because it's real, like it's summer down there, and she was previously dressed for like the Arctic winter. And this is also when she finds out about these like weekly soirees that Sylvan has and how he's holding one tonight at Lady Aston's house. And attractive young women are automatically invited to meet him, which I'm like, creepy. And then Soleia's like, I should go. Okay. Not my first choice, but okay.
No. Don't go to the Playboy Mansion. This is not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
Good idea.
What's interesting at this point is this is when Soleia starts forgetting about what the peaks look like. She has a hard time remembering things, and she starts to struggle to remember Bastian. Like almost like it's been years since she saw him instead of just like hours. So then I was like, okay, is there something they're piping into the air that's causing everyone to feel like, is like everyone on like Air Xanax and everyone feels happy and no longer remembers like what happens above ground? Like, is that a control mechanism that like that Sylvan's power has over the dubs?
Can I get some? Can I get some Air Xanax, please?
I think the whole world could use some.
Are there chemtrails?
Right now, given what's going on.
Oh, man.
So then Bella is like nice and orders a dress for Soleia, and it comes, and the courier is like, oh, I assume you're going to Sylvan's party, given the dress and how attractive you are. And he's like, if you're lucky, you'll get chosen, and Sylvan will put a child in you. Excuse me, what the fuck? We do not, what do you mean he puts children and women at these events? That's like not, what? No. I
don't want that.
I don't want that. And so it's the opposite of what I was expecting, because like the impression we got with Karis was like her pregnancy was like a huge deal and needed to be kept secret. And I'm like, and apparently Sylvan gives like Nick Cannon baby daddy energy.
Yeah, he seriously is. Can he pay all that child support?
Apparently. I mean, he's thousands of children.
Yeah, right? Oh my God. Insane. So insane. Ugh. So even though Soleil is tethered to Bastian and Sylvan is definitely creepy, she's like, I'm excited about meeting him at the party. Okay. definitely reinforcing there's some weird shit going on and it's like happening in people's minds to make them think that they want to go and see him. So once she arrives at the party, she is told to report to Sylvan in the salon. And there's literally like a line of women waiting to meet him who go in one at a time, but don't seem to exit. I'm like, this is the Playboy Mansion. They're all going in to meet Hugh Hefner, do their weekly duty, and then leave. Do they get an allowance?
It's like with the grotto.
Oh, ew, yeah, ew. Ugh. No thanks. I don't want it. No thanks. So let's deep dive into the grotto, meaning Sylvan. Oh. So he's standing on a round platform wearing a suit, and we're like, okay.
Like a model mannequin is what I thought of.
Right? Yeah, and she's like, she senses this raw power coming from him. So again, like one of her new talents is just like sensing these things from people, right? He looks beautiful. He looks ageless, perfect, had a lot of Botox, you know, like he's looking good for his age. But looking at him makes Soleil feel like she's being imprisoned, like pulled against her will almost, like rather than attracted, you know, like she's not like, I can't stop looking at him, but it's not by choice. So Sylvan has glimmering strands from his body that go into some place at like the top of the dome overhead. And you're like, this is strange. And he immediately knows that she is not from Loomis, or he would have seen her before today. And at this moment, she feels euphoric and delighted when he knows like she shouldn't, like who she is in a way. And she's like, I shouldn't be feeling this way. This is weird. And he touches her face and says he would enjoy her. Ew. Ugh. But then he asks her, do you wish to have my child? And she's like, no. And he immediately knows right then she's bound to somebody else. So maybe it's fine because there are others. And he's like, oh, I'll just, you know, put a baby in the other 6 girls in line instead of you. It's fine, whatever. Because definitely there's more than a few of them that are willing to do this. So he's like, all right, you're tethered. I'm not going to bother you. Have a nice day. Which I guess is respectful.
I guess, right?
But, I mean, that's like barely. Because, you know, he's got thousands of children, but most of them are disappointments. And then he tells her to leave and just go back to her mate. But then he tells someone else to give Soleil the sun tattoo. And then thanks her for her loyalty and says, don't disappoint me. And you're like, what just happened? So she's like taken into an exam room and given a tattoo of her son, like on her collarbone, which apparently will mark her with Sylvan's approval. And we immediately think this has to be some kind of tracking device, which we learn it definitely is, but also seems to have like a much stronger power than solely just tracking others. So really interesting. And of course, like sun, soleil, like, and then like, you know, it just, everything ties together. And you're like, Bastian calls her sunshine. And you're like, there's something going on here. There's something symbolic here.
Sun to the peaks.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So back at the party, she sees Cassia and talking to some guy named Thurston about Aimee. And Cassia's like unwilling to offer Aimee up and says she'll keep her until Cassia decides like what she wants to do. And then we learn that her order from the sisterhood were to ensure Aimee remains safe until her powers reveal themselves. And until that happens, she's going to remain under Cassia's protection. And then Cassia drops a little bomb. She knows Sylvan's powers are fading, and his best chance at keeping it means that like something to do with Aimee's powers are going to help Sylvan remain strong. And then Thurston says like Aimee is a danger to Sylvan and this land, so killing her would be an act of mercy. She's no interest to Sylvan aside from her power. And I'm like, you are a bad dad.
Bad.
Like
bad daddy.
Bad daddy.
Ugh.
And I'm like, she's a child, like for the love.
Ugh. Terrible.
So before Soleil can confront Cassia or Thurston, another man stops her and is like, I know who you are, and alludes to knowing Bastian. And the man's like, partner up with me, we'll find Aimee. And then the man starts to morph back into a woman because it's Karis. And I was like, wait, what? I
like had to reread that.
I did too. I was like, wait, what?
But of course Karis can morph. Of course she can.
Of course. And I'm like,
oh my God.
this has not been a day. How did Thorne and Shara heal her enough for her to come to the depths in less than a day?
So crazy.
She's to the song "Sweet," like she's sweet, but she's psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I thought. Like was
Cute
playing
but
in my
psycho.
head. Cute but psycho. I'm like, she's psycho, but just mainly just the psycho part.
Just mainly psycho. Yeah.
And all of her interactions with Soleia are like, I would describe them at this point in the book like odd. She seems to like teeter back and forth between like being scary and kind. Like sometimes she's kind of scary with what she says, and then sometimes she's like, "Oh, I didn't mean it that way," and I'm like, "Are we mind fucking people? Like, what is happening?"
Yeah.
And she's like hell bent on finding Aimee, which is not unusual because like I mean she's a mom, and I can only imagine like how I would feel if something happened to one of my kids, right? But she doesn't seem to care much about Bastian based on the way she speaks about him. So that's when I started wondering, like, did you hurt Thorne, Shara, and Bastian so you could escape? Like, there's no way that this was, they just let you, they healed you and let you go. And I'm like, the sedative wore off, they didn't pull enough powers, you like busted through the, like, this is like the fire scene where you try and set Bastian on flame. Like, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And
Did
then,
she go down back at the end?
Exactly, like, is everyone dead? Like, what is happening? And then it's weirder because Kara says she will kill for Sylvan. I'm like, wait a second. We're still in love with this psycho? One, we're in love with the psycho, and we're still in love with the psycho? I thought you were terrified of him, and that's why you came out of the depths to hide your pregnancy. Now you're willing to kill for him?
It's like trying to talk to your friend who is still in love with her toxic ex. You know, you're
Yes.
like, girl, look at the receipts on your phone. He is bad news. And they're like, but I love him. And you're like,
But like yesterday, he did this real nice thing.
yes,
Like he
but he
sent
said
me a
I
sweet
was
text.
pretty.
He got me
like-
flowers.
Yeah, and you're like, no.
No.
He's bad. You block him. Bad.
Yes, you
We
need to
still
block
do
his
it.
phone number, Karis, and she's not. So I was just like, I was really at this point confused. I was just like, I don't know if Thorne, Shara, and Bastian are dead or seriously injured. Also, how can Thorne and Shara like extract all of her powers so she's well enough to come down here, but then not protect themselves and prevent her from coming down here? Like, what is going on?
It's just, there's something
Fishy.
something else happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like it. So then we learn a lot of information right there from Karis. Whatever. Crazy girl. She did join the Obsidian Sky after she became a blade because she feared being killed by the High Council. And you're like, that checks out. Okay. Rightly so. Saint took a strong interest in her. Basically, he was like, she's hot and sexy. I like her. Pretty much sounds like he just was like, I want to give her special privileges so that she'll like me. And that works out so nice and dandy until Saint introduces her to Sylvan. And Karis immediately felt like it was love at first sight for her. Like she was enthralled with him, like just wanted to be near him. And later that night, after meeting Sylvan, Saint came looking for Karis and said, Sylvan wants you to come to his residence, and he even gave you this special key. And Saint was like, seriously so pissed off. He's like, wait, I saw her first, I liked her, and now Sylvan's taking away this girl I really like. So you're like, kind of feel bad for Saint a tiny bit. But not much.
But not, yeah.
No.
Not
So
fully.
then, Karis spends 72 hours straight with Sylvan and was convinced that he was her bound mate. And she literally didn't leave him for weeks or months, lost all track of time, which is basically what your friend does when they're in a toxic relationship. The guy controls her and just you're like, hello, I've been texting you. Where are you? You're with the guy again. Great. So Sylvan, being the manipulator he is, told Karis he wanted her to stay with him forever, but she's not sure if he ever really loved her. Duh. Of course he didn't.
He doesn't.
Because he doesn't.
He's incapable.
He's a fuckboy. Do you see
Yes.
how many babies he has? How many baby
Literally,
mamas
he is
has?
the definition of a fuckboy.
Definition of fuckboy. But is he good? That's my question.
Fucking?
Yeah, is this a one and done, there's a baby in you next?
Probably.
Or do you take the time? Is there foreplay? Now I have questions about Sylvan and what he does. Anyway.
Okay, Riley.
Okay,
Riley,
Riley,
a
good
bonus
questions.
chapter
Do you
or
wanna-
provide some more context and Freed? We are here for it.
Let us know how Sylvan is in bed. Are there chains involved? Because he's holding by these chains. Is that... now we're getting kinky. I don't hate it. So Karis left the depths after finding out she was pregnant because she needed to keep Aimee a secret because she was with child, the exact child that Sylvan had been waiting generations for. And she's like, I don't know if he loves me and I'm not going to give him what he wants. I'm going to take it away from him, basically. So Saint was really pissed, obviously, at Garrus and injects her with so many powers because a Seether had told him that Bastian had to die for the good of the peaks. And so she had one command from Saint, which was to kill Bastian. And it's like, no, can we not? Let's not do that.
One thing about that, I didn't think about this until you just like we read it again and like talked about it, but does that mean that Seether, which we know is different than a seer, is that possible that Bastian has to die for the good of the peaks still valid?
Oh God, I hope not. Shit.
I
don't
know.
like that.
I just thought of that again.
I don't like this.
Okay.
I don't like this. So now Garrus, thinks if she kills Bastian, she can return to Sylvan and be with him. Again, girl, toxic ex, don't do it. Sylvan wants to keep his people safe and devotes all of his energy to that purpose. And normally Sylvan only connects to like thin chains in his special chamber for a few hours. Sure he does.
Sure he does.
Yeah. Meaning, like, since he's always chained up to it, like, that means he's, like, worse, like, than Garrus feared. Like, if he's constantly on, like, these, like, lots of chains, like, it's bad. So, Sylvan has apparently been around a long, long time. Like, he's an old guy. Botox can only work so much to hide his age, I guess. But he's the only person, apparently, who can remember the peaks being a warmth and sunshiny place with all the seasons. So, that's how old he is. And I guess he is intent on producing as many children as possible with other blades in the hopes that that one child will be born. And it used to be a secret, but like now Garrus believes he must be desperate since everyone knows he wants this child and like has women lined up. I'm like, all right, Nick Cannon, whatever. And Garrus tells Soleil, like, you need to leave the depths. You need to go be with Bastian. Let me take care of this. I got this. Just go. And then she also finds out that, like, if anyone tries to attack Sylvan, all the other blades there will defend him. So I'm like, those tattoos, do they have something to do with it? Like, how quick is this reaction? Like, like...
It's like the bat symbol. Like, you hit it, and it, like, activates your killing tattoo.
Yeah. Ooh, crazy. So then, supposedly, also, like, the only way Sylvan can die is if someone can match his strength. So, like, someone just as powerful as him. And Garrus alludes that to be Aimee. And you're like,
She's a child.
She's a child. And she won't come into her strength for, like, a few more years. Like,
yeah.
Let's talk about.
So the next morning, Garrus leaves a note for Soleia and is like, go back to Bastian and your family are Cavern. You'll be better off there given what's coming. And I'm like, those are ominous words. What do you mean?
Cryptic.
You were cryptic. You were already giving off like pretty sketchy vibes during the entire conversation. And now it's like obvious, like you were up to no good. So like, of course, Soleia is not going to listen to you and like leaves the end and tries to find her and Aimee.
Mm-hmm.
But Saint finds Soleia and she's like, it's really odd because she's been feeling him before. And so that's what makes me wonder if like the person that she thought was Saint was actually someone else. And Bella urges her to kill Saint and offers to do it for her. Great.
Murder happy.
Yep. Bella.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently Saint says that Garrus is going to doom everyone. And Soleia might be the only person who can stop her. And I'm like, excuse me, what the fuck? Wait, hold on a second. You tried to kill her by injecting her with powers. Now you think she can stop Garrus, who apparently is the most dangerous thing?
And also your like ex-fling, your ex-girlfriend that you liked. You're just jealous, man.
That's right. Like I'm just like, what is going on? And then it gets weirder because like Soleia's like running from Saint and they're like running through the streets, right? And I'm thinking like this is kind of like some sort of like action adventure movie, right? Where they're just like running around and no one else is paying any attention. No one notices two people chasing each other down the streets. And like this
like,
woman looking terrified.
And no one would care.
They'd be like, oh, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah. Like, what are you smoking?
They're all like oblivious. So clearly like there's something being pumped into the air or that they can sense
food or
Yes. And then for some reason, Soleil follows Saint into an alleyway and thinks that's going to be a good idea.
Yeah, yeah.
And he tells her, this place is not what you think. Like almost like that he's now having concerns about what's going on in the depths, which is not the impression that I thought he's been protecting this place like in the previous book and up until now. And then it gets really crazy because he grabs her by the throat. And I'm like, wait a second. You just said that she's the only person that stopped Kara's, and now we're grabbing her by the throat? I'm so confused. And
I mean, the last time she was in an alleyway with a man and he, grabbed her, she liked it. But this time,
she did.
No.
No,
Don't like it this time. No.
We know, no likey.
No likey.
And so Soleia's like, I wish for him to be weak. And then he turns into an old man because this power that Soleia was injected with, Saint never meant to give her. So that has to be like what Shara was talking about earlier and said that she needed to be careful with what she wished upon others. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Oh my God. So now I have to be careful with my thoughts. I hope this power can't read Bella's thoughts.
Oh my God.
Like, can you imagine?
That would just be like a massacre.
A massacre constantly. So then Saint shares that the Obsidian Sky must be revealed and the seasons must change. And so Leia is going to have to do it now. And I'm like, 2 seconds ago, we were trying to kill her by the throat. Like, what? And so this just feels very much like Shara and Queen. Like, very, very much. Like, there's some sort of prophecy. Something is going on. No one can tell her everything. And then Saint just, like, all up and disappears. He's like, and bye. What?
Where did that old man hobble off to? Like,
yeah, and how can he hobble so fast if he's old?
Yeah, right? It's insane. But then moments later, Selleck shows up. Also, by the way, the name Selleck, I just can't not think of Tom Selleck all the time.
I can't either.
That's I know, like,
I know that's not what he looks like, but that's what I envision in my head.
Moments later, Tom Selleck shows up, everyone.
Like 80s Tom Selleck.
Yeah, epic. Or at least Soleil thinks it's Selleck because he looks just like him, mustache and all. And supposedly Bastian sent him because Karis didn't come to the depths with the best of intentions. No shit. Duh. Of course she doesn't have good intentions. She's not here for the right reasons, everybody. She is not here for the right reasons.
She's sweet, but she's psycho.
No rose for you, Karis. And Selleck takes Soleil in the car to, like, leave Loomis because Aimee isn't there. And he's like, I don't want us to be overheard. Like, there's ears everywhere. Like, everyone can listen. And, like, the further away they get from Loomis, Soleil starts to feel more and more like her old self. Like, okay, yeah, I don't have this constant weird joyfulness that I felt in Loomis. I don't feel constantly euphoric. She also sees, like, these wheat fields and, like, other agriculture that doesn't exist anywhere in the peaks or on the surface. So further insinuating that, like, all of their food for the peaks is definitely coming from the depths. Like, they are the provider for everything. And then finally Soleil realizes that is not Selleck because he doesn't have that dagger tattoo. And she calls him out. She's like, you're not him. Who are you? Turns out it's Bastian. Hi, hun.
Hi.
He's Sunshine.
Hi, Shadow Daddy.
Hello. Oh my God. Shadow Daddy? Sunshine?
Mm-hmm. Day and night.
It. Oh, love it so much. So, turns out Thorne gave a bracer that allowed him to go into the depths as a siphon and, like, allows him to, like, kind of morph and turn temporary into a blade. So he, like, can blend in, And then Bastian's like, let me fill you in on what happened with Karis. So, Karis wakes up and kept saying, I will give her to you over and over again, which Bastian originally thought was, like, about him. Like, okay, you're going to give Aimee to me? Like, oh, okay, yeah, okay. And she, like, pretends to be happy when she sees him, but it was all forced. It was all a fake act. And she became desperate at the mention of Aimee. And so Karis then attacked Bastian when he insisted that she stay there and not go to the depths after Aimee. And she kept saying, like, she had to make sure Aimee was in the right hands, and she promises to find Soleil and make sure she was safe. And Thorne removes her inhibitor and gave her a bracer so that she could morph, which explains actually why she can morph and not one of her powers, apparently. And she appeared calm on the outside, but just, like, felt like a bomb was about to explode within him. And she told Bastian that Sylvan needs Aimee, and without Aimee, he will fade. And Karis also said that Bastian was never meant to have Aimee. She was never supposed to have a family. She was supposed to wait for her father's embrace, and that was her only purpose. What the fuck?
Right?
This kid was never supposed to be shown love or like a family or have a hug or have a family. Oh, God.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. So Bastian knew Soleia's in danger. He's like, oh shit, I just let my sister go and like this is going to be bad. So he came to find her. And once Thorne had that bracer made for him, and we're like, oh, okay, great. Thank you for that catch up.
Great.
So Karis is still crazy. Crazy, crazy.
And no one's dead.
But no one's dead.
Except for Miss Whippy.
Yeah. Boo.
So while in the depths, Bastian feels like he's fighting off a virus, like almost the opposite of how Soleia felt in Loomis. And he says they need to go see a Seether and Antarina.
Aterna?
Anterna. We'll call it Anterna. That Selleck told him about, and that's
Tom
where they're
Selleck.
going. Tom Selleck told them about next. He also shares that Soleia's new power is likely kleptochronia, which is the thieving of time, where she can take so similar, like where a Reaper can like steal time from you or kill you and steal your life. She can take someone like years or days or weeks from someone's life and never give it back.
Dude, that reminded me of the silk spiders. Do you know?
No. No idea.
Throne of Glass.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were like the book, The Silk Spiders, and I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No. In Throne of Glass, the spiders that like can steal time unless you like kill them and like, you know. Anyway, reminded me of that.
I was like, is this a Lord of the Rings thing? I don't know.
As long as it's not snakes, you know.
No.
I don't want snakes. No snakes.
I don't love spiders either, but I feel like big spiders that are in like romantasy, like they feel very fake to me, whereas a snake of any size gives me heebie-jeebies.
Like, no, thank
no,
you.
Can't.
Unless it's a certain kind of snake.
Which is different.
That's different.
If you know, you know.
We like those.
So in Eterna, Soleia goes to see this Seether because Bastian's like, I shouldn't go because I'm like hiding right as a siphon. And her name's Madame Leroux. And she tells her to leave once she realizes why she's there. Like, you need to get out. Like, I won't talk to you. And then she's like, stay the night in room 12 at the Bird's Eye Inn and stay until like late morning tomorrow. And I'm like, why are we going to listen to this woman? Like, that seems super sketchy. And Bastian's like, well, there's always a reason for a Seether's behavior. Like, we should listen to it. And I'm like, should we? I mean, they did.
And is this the same Seether that told Saint about the Bastian stuff?
Maybe. How many Seethers are there?
Right?
Questions. How many lands are there? We also have those questions.
Yes.
So we do get some spice at the end, which we'll talk about more about later. Hello, Shadow Daddy.
Yeah, they're like, well, we're in this hotel room. We might as well make use of it.
What will we do?
Thank goodness they
And
do
then they
make
do.
use of it. Yes.
So the next morning, the Seether shows up at their room and says she's like, the room's been veiled from Sylvan, and we learn a lot. So she knows about Shara and knows a lot about Sylvan's past, but he doesn't realize that like the Seether knows this information. She's like, otherwise I would be dead. And I'm like, great. So please don't tell me this information.
I don't know. I don't want to die.
I don't want to know. And then she says Sylvan doesn't kill people. His followers do it for him, which makes me think like there's some sort of like activate bat signal that to go kill people. And she wants to see the Lightbringer brought to heel at last. So obviously Sylvan is the Lightbringer. The Depths have a spell for siphons and lancers. We've heard about that power earlier at the palace that makes them feel sick or eats away at them, which explains why like Bastian feels like as horrible as he does. And Sylvan's power tears at your empathy and the bonds between them, which is why Soleia was struggling to feel her bond with Bastian while she was in Loomis. And if they remain in the Depths, their love would be fractured. Bastian would break. I guess die, is how I took that. And Soleia wouldn't care that she had lost her mate. She'd be like, give me a churro. Let me go shopping. Like,
yeah, I'll go have a baby with Sylvan anyway.
Yes, that sounds wonderful. And a cup of tea.
Yeah.
And she says, like, Bastian, you can probably stay 2 or 3 more days in the Depths before it becomes like extremely toxic to you. And then she goes, finding Aimee isn't as important as figuring out why Sylvan wants her in the first place. And I'm like, I mean, I get that, but also she's a child.
She's a child. We should still like find that. It's still important to do.
Still important. And they need to go to the temple at the center of the town to find more answers about Sylvan and for Soleia to learn more about herself. And I'm like, okay, so this is another prophecy. Like, I can see it.
Also, like, why can't you just tell her right then? I'm like, everything is already veiled. Like, why make me go figure out shit? Just tell me.
Why do you, it's like with Thorne, like, I feel like Thorne did this. I feel like, Lady Allegra did this. I feel like Joy did this, and like so many people did this on Queen. It just feel and Bound, or no, Broken, and in Thrall. Like there's so many things that are just these little tidbits where it's like I can't tell you everything, but like also the whole fate of the kingdom rests upon you. You'll be fine.
Right. No worries.
And then she says,
pressure.
No pressure. Bastian and Soleia will be tested, and she's sorry for what they will endure. And I'm like, that sounds like when Thorne died. Remember how Lady Allegra told Shara about how like you will be tested, and I'm like, no, I cannot. Kay Riley, no. I cannot relive that. I sobbed hysterically. My children thought there was something seriously wrong with me, like that someone in reality had died.
I wanted to throw my book across the room. So angry.
I mean, but you gave us back. You gave him back to us, so I appreciate that. But also, like, I'm not. No, not ready.
Yeah. Don't kill Bastian.
Don't kill Bastian. Like, I know you don't in this book, but I feel like you're preparing me for it, and I'm not. I'm not okay with it.
Not ready. Not ready.
Okay.
I don't want it. So then we go inside the temple, and it is covered in murals that like tell this creation story. And it's the only place in the depths that explains Sylvan's rise to greatness, or so this guide says, which the guide is super creepy. Like, how many visitors do you get in a day? Because clearly it's not enough, because you were cray-cray.
And so like following them around. That's how I imagined.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
It's like when you go to a furniture store and like the furniture person's like, can I help you? You're like, we're just looking. And then they like discreetly follow you throughout the store. Like, do you have questions? And I'm like, I'm just looking.
Like, go away. Go away. Shoot. Shoot. Yeah, that's the guide. But basically, they find out that the peaks used to have seasons until something happened, and Sylvan is responsible for building the depths and ensuring the warm weather inside those depths. So he froze the peaks to punish the people who treated blades so poorly. And his gift that he has to do all this is so rare that it literally only comes once every thousands of years. So I'm like, okay, cool, great. So he's super powerful, and like likely no one else is going to be able to challenge him. Great. Cool. But then it gets crazier, because then the temple guide is somehow channeling Sylvan, as if they're not creepy enough, and says, you need to bring the girl to me. And Soleil has to then fulfill her destiny, or everyone in the peaks will die. I did not want that in my fortune cookie. Like, no, I don't want that. And Debbie also mentioned, like, the last mural here shows two women, one with dark hair and like smaller with their arms raised like Sylvan's in a previous mural, and the other one who has red hair and is wearing a green gown, much like the one that Soleil wore when she went to go meet Sylvan. And like, this literally looks just like her. And then the guide starts shooting lightning, and like Bastian and Soleil are like trying to fight back with their powers, but like Bastian has a sickness, so he's, you know, kind of impacted at the moment, a little bit weak. And we're like, oh shit, this is not good. But then suddenly Cassia shows up to help and like gets them out. And she also has Bastian cut out the implant that is in Soleil that is in her sun tattoo. We're like, oh shit. Is that why Tom Selleck had that scar? He had his
because he cut his out, I think. Yeah.
Oh. So literally
does
the whole time.
Cassia have one?
Right? I don't know. I don't think so. But I think she just knows of them, right?
Okay. I don't know. I
just
she
thought of that. Helping them if she did have one, though.
Yeah, but doesn't he mark everyone? Like, how could she be down there for years and not be marked?
That's true. She might be marked. And also, like, the whole, like, temple, like, falls apart. And so now it's, like, the one thing that showed the truth and, like, the history is now gone. So, like, they were the last people to ever see it. Crazy. But once they're safe, Cassia tells us a lot more information. So she tells us that the darkening sky in the depths is because of Sylvan's waning powers. So clearly, like, he's not strong anymore. And if his powers fail, then he can either let the surface thaw up there, and then the depths can survive a little bit longer, or he can just kill everyone on the surface and use the rest of his strength to power Loomis as long as he can. Great options here.
Great options.
Cool.
So people die either way.
Everyone,
cool.
Yeah. Cool. So all the food that goes to the peaks comes from the depths. And Sylvan will basically just starve out everyone at the peaks and just like refuse to give them any help. You're like, okay, so I understand a little bit now why the High Council like is kind of doing what they're doing. But Sylvan can no longer provide enough power for the sun, because like the sun that he like creates in the depths can actually produce like food for the people in the depths. And he's like, I can't do both anymore. Like I can't do it for the people in the depths and the people in the peaks. If something doesn't change, people are going to die. The chains Sylvan is tied to give him power from this thing called an antherite stone, which is like that small little like blue orb thingy stone, gem, if you will, which is what Soleil saw being mined by all those children in her dream. And you're like, so he's literally birthing children to go
work in mines
and then like power him up. I'm like, oh, you suck.
You suck.
Let's just let you die.
I know, right? But we don't want everyone else in the world to die.
But
so
yeah. It's tricky.
So we gotta fix that problem first. So Cassia says that she switched the needles so Soleil would be injected with this kleptocrania power because she knew it was really rare and more valuable than all the other powers in the room. And after one of Sylvan's children is born, he speaks to a Seether to determine their powers. If they're blades, they get to live in Loomis. So yay for you. Or another city in the depths, because there are other cities. If not, they're sent to work in the mines. And I'm like, didn't you build the depths because blades were treated poorly? And now you're literally treating every other tethered poorly?
God, it's so
right?
terrible.
Like, it's horrible. And he's been waiting for a child that shares his gift, a fledged, like Aimee. And Aimee could fuel Sylvan for hundreds of years until the next fledged is born. So he would just need to extract her powers. And I'm like, well, we've just heard about extracting powers from Thorne. So if Sylvan
that's not going to end well for Aimee.
It's not going to end well. It's going to kill Aimee.
Good.
So the power that Cassia gave Soleia would allow her to age Aimee so she can come into her powers earlier and not wait the number of years to prevent like the world from collapsing. And she believes that aging Aimee would allow her to become the new Lightbringer, restore the weather to the peaks, and it's why the High Council wants Aimee. And I'm like, whose side are you on?
Right.
Cassia, like I have questions now. Like, are you working with Evan Graves? Or Bianca?
Are Cassie and Bianca lovers? Are they working together?
That would actually make kind of sense.
That would really make a lot of sense. Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense.
Why she had no interest in Bastian.
Yeah. So Aimee could choose to power the depths if she wanted to, after she restores like the weather in the peaks. And then she goes, you need to go to the Icelands to get Aimee. And then Bella's like, no, Amy's in the harbor. We're like, and I'm like, in the harbor where Shara's ship is? What? How did this child get to the harbor?
Yeah.
Well, so they head to the harbor and Cassia stays in the depths because she has to like fulfill her obligation from the sisterhood. She can't really leave. And almost as soon as they reach the harbor, Karis is there, and she demands that, like, Soleia uses her gift to age Aimee. So she even knows that there's this gift, and that Soleia has it. And she refuses, and Karis, like, threatens to kill Bastian and starts using her powers against him. And Bastian does literally nothing. He doesn't fight back. I mean, like, yes, I know he's weakened from, like, the sickness, but he doesn't want to harm his sister. He would rather die than harm her. And then Soleia is, like, begging Karis to stop because she doesn't want Bastian to die, but she's also like worried about doing anything. And Bella says it's time to fight back. And then Bella takes control of Soleia's hand and stabs Karis' neck. And at this point, I'm like, Soleia just killed Karis. I was like, this is bad. Like, that's like, how is this their relationship going to survive? Like, is this going to break their tether?
Yeah, like Thorne's vision.
Yes. And I'm like, or is that, no, that's what Kay Riley wants us to believe. Because I was like,
I know. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah,
Bella, what did you do?
What did you do, Bella?
But we got to have a little bit more faith in Bella, you guys, because
it's hard, though. It's hard to have
really
faith in Lady Mindfuck who calls people twat waffles. Like, like it's hard. And wants to stab people all the time.
She's a bit stabby.
She's just a bit stabby.
But it turns out, Bella didn't kill Karis. She just cut out her implant, which took away the power that Sylvan had over her. So, literally, now that's cut out, Karis just turns back to her normal self, like she was before she ever became injected with all these crazy powers. And so she's like, what happened? I mean, she, kind of knows what happened, but she's also like, that wasn't me. And you're like, oh my God, now you're just cute. No more psycho. Yay. So then we get our epilogue here. And we learn the following things have happened. So Karis was marked with a tattoo when she returned to Sylvan after Aimee was born, which convinced her that, she loved Sylvan more than Aimee, so that she was able to even forget about her own daughter, which I'm like, that's insane. But this guy has such crazy power. He was literally making Soleil forget about Bastian. So naturally, he could,
happen.
It could happen. Yeah. Stockholm syndrome, basically. Just super insane. And Saint injected her with powers to kill Bastian and any potential weapon that he supposedly had. So Sylvan wants to obliterate the people and the land in the peaks. Shara and Thorne believe they need outside help. And so Soleil decides to join the sisterhood and become an assassin. What could go wrong?
What could go wrong?
Oh,
now we wait for book 6.
Yay! But Aimee's still a child.
She's still a child as of right now. I'm also why can't other people join the sisterhood? Why does it just have to be Soleia?
Yeah.
We'll talk about this in
it's only blades. But yeah,
that's true.
Blades? Yeah. But what is a sweet moment is Aimee finally gets to meet her mother,
Wait,
and
how is it only blades?
Yeah, only female blades can join the sisterhood.
Then how can Cassia be a part of the sisterhood?
She's a blade.
Well, and she's a truth minder.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought she was just a truth minder.
No, that's one of the powers that she stole.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I about went down a really bad path of my mind, and I about exploded, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Because she's also a Veller as well.
Yeah.
All that stuff, yeah. It's cray-cray.
It's cray-cray.
The only happy ending here is that Aimee finally gets to be with her mother, who is no longer psycho.
We think. Do we trust K.A. Riley? Let's be honest.
I don't. I love you, K.A. Riley, but I don't trust you.
I don't trust you to not emotionally destroy me in the next book.
No. And Bastian is alive for now, but I don't trust.
I don't trust it.
I don't know.
Okay.
And so let's be an assassin.
Let's trust what we do the hot and steamy.
Yes.
Okay.
I do trust that.
This did feel like 3 peppers because we got 3 scenes.
Mm-hmm.
They were good. But it didn't feel like Queen where we got a lot of scenes. I'm still waiting for that robe scene. Was so good in Queen. So I'm waiting for the Bastian Soleia version of the robe scene that's obviously different. But that lives rent free in my head.
It does. I mean, it might be a little bit in chapter 19. We'll see. Okay, so chapter 5 is our first one where Bastian goes down on Soleil in an alleyway and then they fuck, and it is so good. So literally, he says, "You're wet for me already, sunshine, despite the worries eating away at you. Your body knows how much I desire you. It knows, too, that in a matter of seconds, my mouth will be on you, my lips sucking on that pretty little butt of yours." His lips move to my cheekbone, then down to my jawline, my neck, and down further still, until he's on his knees, peeling my trousers down. He lifts one of my legs and pulls my boot off, then yanks my pant leg off, and I'm vulnerable and at his mercy, helpless to resist him. He takes my leg and hooks it over his shoulder, staring up at me as his fingers pinch my clit, then massage gentle circles into me with the pad of his thumb. Oh my. And also, keep in mind, this is in the middle of an alleyway. And you're
in a city.
In a city where anybody could walk by. Right?
Yeah. I'm also aren't you cold? Because it's Arctic weather and you're basically naked from the bottoms down.
Yes, it is so good. Oh, he says, "I need to fuck you." He pushes his engorged head into my opening, his fingers slipping over my clit again, and I let out a cry of frustrated ecstasy. "I want you inside me," I plead. "When you come," he vows, "come for me." And he uses 2 fingers to stroke me, teasing me with the promise. And then He uses black coils wrapping around my thighs, forcing them further apart. Oh,
Thank you.
gosh. Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
we love that. And then we get chapter 19. Bastian and Soleia have sex after she's freed from her cell. Thank you very much. I love that so much. So, we have here, fuck, Soul, Bastian gasps, watching me, his fist twisting in my wet hair. That feels like everything good in the world. You may not realize it, but your mouth is magical. I wrap my lips around him, sucking gently, and begin to stroke slowly, my hands running up and down his length, so that I feel every inch of him, every vein, every throb of blood pounding through him. I want you right now, I tell him. Inside me, please, right fucking now. You want this? Yes, I gasp. He draws himself out, slipping the head of his cock over my clit, only make me desperate for more. Soon, but for now, in the tub with you, he says. I want to play with you first.
We love shower like tub scenes. They're just
Oh my gosh. And this this last part. He rises to his feet, fisting his dick and offering it to me over the tub's edge. I twist my torso and take him in two hands, teasing his swelling head with my tongue, licking at the center at the clear droplet that's gathered there. Oh my.
It's nice.
Oh my. Oh goodness. So chapter 46. Bastian goes down on Soleil and she returns the favor, as a lady does. And then they fuck. So, casting aside all feelings of shame, I lift one leg, my knee bent, and I drop it to the side. I want your mouth on me, I tell him. I want you to make me come, and then I want you to fuck me until I can no longer walk. Now we're getting somewhere, he growls, climbing over me.
Well, and that was like the first time I feel like she said what she wanted. Like he was pushing her, like, what do you want?
Yes, exactly. And I'm like, good for you. Good for you. And I also would like that. And then he pushes two fingers inside me and watches me writhe and buck under his touch. One hand moving to my stomach to take in the full effect he's having on my body. His fingers split apart, forcing me open, and he pushes his tongue inside me, then strokes it upward, sending a shockwave of pleasure through my entire body. On your knees. Once again, I obey, twisting around and landing on my hand and knees on the bed. All feelings of self-consciousness have left me, and I am at his mercy. Bastian pushes my legs apart, and this time he consumes me. I bend my head down, enthralled as his mouth works me, tongue-lapping, lip-sucking my nerves, heating with a pleasure so extreme that my body feels like a conflagration has taken every inch of it.
So nice, right?
Oh my gosh. And there's one last bit that is just like so good when they're like, fuck, let's fuck like the world is ending all the time. And you're like, yeah. Yes, please. Let's do that. I would love that. Because it literally says, fuck me like it's the end of the world, as if we're the last people alive.
You might be.
You might be.
At some point in this series.
Oof. Guess we gotta repopulate.
Literally.
Don't hate it.
Don't hate
it. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk theories because we have a lot of questions and theories at the end of this book. So let's start with what was the point of the seer, not the seether, the seer coming into Soleia's cell? So it's like it's a quick scene, but I know from experience, Kay Riley doesn't put in these scenes unless there's some reason. So like this is when she asked the person, like, would you save the person you love or the entire world? And the seer is disappointed in her saving the entire world. So it feels like there's something foreshadowing that in this next book, Soleia's gonna have to be forced to choose. And I think
she's saving Bastian and the whole world.
I think,
or between saving Aimee and the whole world. Like
I think it'll be Aimee or Bastian.
Yeah, it's one of those two.
God, I hope it's not both.
No. Or her sister?
Oh no.
Shit.
Thinking about Shara dying.
I didn't think about Shara. I
I
wouldn't
feel
really
like
care
now
if her
you're
dad
just
died.
like put it out there in the universe, and now like, I do not want to manifest this. We are not manifesting.
Take it back. No,
Take
thank
it
you.
back.
But Bianca could die. I wouldn't care about her. It's fine.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yeah. Because, can we really trust Bianca? Like, who is she working with here? Like, look, we don't like her. We never really will. She's like the Ryan Seacrest of the Deathcast.
Isn't
like,
she though?
She really is.
She really is.
Yeah, like we do feel like she's a tiny bit trustworthy in the terms of like her willingness to help Bastian and Soleil like leave the palace and like work against her father. But I have a feeling Bianca's going to play a role in the next book. Might be critical of helping save the peaks. Is it possible that she'll become the next leader?
I think so. Like I think that like something has to happen to Evan. Maybe.
Yeah.
Like if they save the peaks, there'll need to be like a new world order, right? Like a new, I don't know. Yeah, but do you want the Ryan Seacrest of the Deathcast like running your government? Because I don't.
But like, she also has to be working with a bigger group, right? Like similar to what we saw with Lady Allegra and her whole team and Queen. Like the question is, who is involved in this group and who's leading it? Like our best guess, honestly, is like it might include both people in the peaks and like certain blades who have lived in the depths before. Like, hey, Tom Selleck, talking to you, buddy.
Looking at you.
Mm-hmm.
Like there has to be something going on. Okay, so is Saint good?
He's no saint.
He's no saint. So like I hated him in Bound, but in this book I was also hated him. But then I was like, wait, you're like partially evil, but you also want to make sure the peaks are not destroyed. I thought you only cared about the depths. So like it's this weird like switcheroo. And so it's like I don't know, like are you gonna come out in the next book? Is his story over? Like, does he have that connection, like, via minds with Soleia? Was he the one speaking into her mind? Part of me says no, and part of me says yes.
I feel like it was Sylvan. I feel like he was the one speaking into her mind.
It's possible.
And she thought it was Saint.
Does Saint have, like, a tattoo? Is he being controlled?
Yeah, right? Also, is he still going to be an old man? Does he ever get
No, I think that he's lost No, he's lost them. That's what we learned from that power. He's going to be old for well, however long he lives, I don't know. How old does she turn him?
All right.
And how long do people live in this world? Not long if Sylvan's power doesn't get fixed, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, is Bastian going to die in the next book? He better not. Again, we just can't. We sobbed hysterically when Thorne died, or at least we thought he died. We just can't do this. Don't put us through that again. It feels like she's setting us up for someone to die based on these comments. I don't love this.
I'm not here for this.
But you know what? If you are going to kill him, please bring him back. Like,
see, this is the problem. I think if she kills him, I don't think she'll bring him back.
No.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like he'll be like Liam, like dead. Or like Sam in Throne of Glass, dead. Like, I feel like he'll be dead. Because, like, I think we'll expect him to come back like Thorne did.
Yeah, we'll be like, well, maybe it's not all the way dead.
Because I think this will be different. This will be a choice that she makes. But if her tethered mate dies, like she's gonna be broken. Which was, oh god. Okay. We are not willing this into existence. We'd like to be very clear, K.A. Riley. This is not what we want. Please don't do this to us.
No.
Thank you.
No.
Okay. Speaking of Bastian, are there gonna be long-term impacts from him staying in the depths for so long? Right? Because we don't know if like that goes away. But so I also thought, could he die right from staying down there so long? Because one thing that's weird is, and I pay attention to this, she capitalized sickness in the book. And I'm like, that has to mean something else. She's very particular, like grammatically with how she does things. And I was like, fuck, what if you can't recover from the sickness? Like, and his strength starts to slowly wane. But, like, maybe Aimee or Soleia have the choice between saving him or saving the entire land, and they have to pick one.
Bad.
Yeah.
I
don't love
like
this.
Get that off my bingo card. I don't want that. Next card. I don't want that. But also, like, what purpose is Soleil supposed to like have and like to serve in helping the peaks? I mean, obviously, like she's gonna need to age Aimee so that she can come into her full powers. Is it possible that she's gonna play like another role too? Also, like, is Aimee gonna get consent in this? Like
I
really
hope
quickly?
so.
Like, hey Aimee, do you want to go through puberty like really, really quickly, and or like do you want
Or
to skip over it?
I was like, if it's skipping over puberty, yes, sign me up.
Maybe,
We
yeah,
also
sure.
skip over perimenopause and menopause too.
Yeah. How can I sign up for this part?
Yeah.
But you know, it's like, okay, this effort is important, of course. We have a feeling like Soleia's going to play a bigger role somehow, which is obviously going to result in like Sylvan being taken down, but some of the powers she was injected with might help her defeat Sylvan.
What if the kleptocrania power, like, could she use that on Sylvan as a way to end him?
Right? Yeah.
Right? Or
But she has to also use it on Aimee to keep everyone alive.
right.
But do the people down there deserve it?
I don't know.
What if we just end the depths and bring everybody up to the surface and
Like,
let
why
the
isn't
seasons
that an
come
option?
back?
And just tell people that blades are not, we shouldn't kill them.
Yeah, it's like, let's not kill
Like, the
them.
death cast has been canceled.
Mhm.
Go find a new job, Bianca.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Okay.
Be fine.
Also, why is Soleia the only person joining the sisterhood? Like, why was that like, well, you will join the sister? Like, I get that, like, it's a blade thing, whatever. But, like, what ramifications will that have on her life?
It's a blade thing.
It's a blade thing. So I'm excited to learn about the sisterhood because I feel like we've gotten these like bits and pieces in this book and the previous one. But I'm also like cautious. I'm like, okay, so Cassie has told us it's a lifetime commitment. How does that work for Bastian and Soleia? Like, she'll be sent different places, right? Some of these like commitments are like years. Can he go? Because Cassie has been playing this role for however many years. Like, she can't be with, if she's tethered to someone, she can't be with them. Is that the choice Soleia's going to have to make?
Yeah. It's the sisterhood of the traveling blades.
I love that.
Is he allowed to go? I don't know.
Is he allowed to go? I don't know. And also, like, can we be honest? Shara can't follow instructions. Soleia can't follow instructions. How do you think this is going to work? Like,
it's not going to end well.
It's not going to end well. Bella can definitely not follow instructions. So,
ooh, wait. What if Bella is able to escape and permanently stay, and she becomes the assassin? Like,
that would be kick-ass.
Like, that's a twist. Like, Soleil can be with Bastian, but her assassin self is actually Bella, who like impersonates her and like can be the assassin.
Also, I feel like there's some bigger role for like Shara and Thorne too. Like, why would she bring them back for just like a little bit? Like, they have to play some bigger role in helping Soleia figure out what's next, I guess.
Yeah, and like, what were they doing? What were they doing while they were searching for her?
Great question.
We need another book or novella or something regarding all of these mysterious years. They're important pieces to the story, but we need to know them.
Yes. You can't tell us that Maud says you don't want to know what happened and that people want to kill them without us wanting to know the extreme details of it. And if there's some spice thrown in there, like, we wouldn't complain. Just like putting it out there. Okay.
That's good.
Some moments that made my heart race. So when Bella becomes, and I envision her as a hologram and murders the other assassin, I was like, I didn't see that coming. I love that Bella finally gets to kill someone because like she's wanted to do this like since she was created. So that made me feel better. Super excited that Thorne was back. Love seeing him with Shara. I love that, like, this is what I felt like, right? He shows up and he's like, and I will solve Karis's problems. Let me extract her powers. And I'm just like, gay for you. I feel like he inserted himself into like everyone's lives very quickly and was very helpful. So kudos for that. And then he continued to do his like mind fucking when he is like, I have a vision, but I can only show you part of it. I will tell you this.
Yeah. Like, he's a thorn in your side, but sometimes it's a good thing because he's on your side.
Correct. And he works very fast, clearly, with all the things he was doing. Also, this is like when my Apple Watch was like, you need to calm down. When Karis was trying to kill Bastian at the end of the book, I was terrified that we were going to get Thorne. I am so traumatized still from that situation.
You need to go to therapy for it.
I need to go to like book therapy because all I thought of was like, oh my God, she's gonna kill him like Thorne. And I feel like the next time she kills someone, they're gonna be dead, and I'm not prepared, and I can't handle this. And I was reading by the pool, which is also like, I try not to read books that I think will make me cry by the pool. And I was just like, I have sunscreen on my face.
Man, that's not good. That's not good. Mm-mm. Okay, so parts that made my eyes roll, or perhaps room for improvement. Creepy Sylvan. Ooh. And his like desire to impregnate every woman he meets, apparently. Just super gross. Like, get out of here. No.
It's like he's given Elon Musk vibes.
Yeah. He's Epstein.
Oh.
Ew.
No.
Also, I'm like, do they have STDs? Because he's clearly not using a condom if he wants to have babies. All these women he's having sex with, I'm like, do you have STDs down there? Does anybody care that you're about to get the clap? Like, come on. Like, just saying. There's only so much a healer can do. Anyway. Bastian.
Touche.
Okay. Okay, so then Bastian morphs into Tom Selleck, but does not tell Soleil who he is once he sees her. And it was really bizarre that like he didn't tell the truth right away. He actually like tried to like test her with some of the questions. Like, did you have sex with him? Did you want to have sex with him? Did you think about your mate? And like for half a second, it's like, do you not trust her anymore? And it's like, well, clearly you're him, but still, I was like, dude, stop trying to fuck with her. Like,
yeah,
stop it.
Or was part of it like the sickness? You think?
Ooh.
Or his like own insecurities, because like he's felt very like before, like the night before they talked about like how unworthy he felt.
That's true. Probably
I don't know, or both.
A little bit of both, maybe, yeah. But I was like, I don't want that. No, thank you. And then Aimee's reaction when she does meet her mother for the first time, like as her mom, it's like, it didn't seem to like phase Aimee at all. So I'm like, I don't expect that from a child. And now I'm like, are you okay, Aimee? Like, I don't know. Like, this kid's been through so much trauma. And it's like, of course you're not expecting her to like go running and like smiling and be like, mommy. But it's like, it just was a weird reaction.
Yeah. I feel like there's more to it.
I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I wish she had a stronger reaction and like just more authentic. It just, no, we'll see what this goes. And can we get a few more sex scenes, please? Like, I know Bastian and Soleil were apart for a long portion of this book. We need to make up for last time, okay? We need some more shadow deity behavior, okay? Thank you.
We are manifesting that.
I don't know why I had that accent just then. I just kind of felt.
I like it though. It felt appropriate.
It felt good. Mama needs more spice, please.
Always.
Always.
All right, so what's next? So if you enjoyed this book, we'd recommend the Blood and Ash series, which is a very similar aged girl to Soleia, who's also been treated poorly throughout her entire life and starts to learn that everything she's been told is a lie. So,
trending topic.
Trending topic.
Yeah.
A Taste for Lies by Elsie Whitehouse and Shield of Sparrows by Daphne Perry. They're both like enemies to lovers, which you kind of get with this series as well. And they do have a slow burn, which reminds me a lot of how like Soleia and Bastian started out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then join us next week when we release 2 episodes. So the first episode covers A Shadow in the Ember by Jennifer Armentrout. And this is the first book in the Flesh and Fire prequel series, which is connected to that Blood and Ash series. And then our second episode is going to dive into the world of contemporary romance, where we discuss Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. Thanks, everybody, and happy reading.
Happy reading. Thanks for listening to Late Night Reads. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Late Night Reads Podcast. And check out latenightreads.com for even more information about all the books we're reading. If you loved today's episode, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. And share the show with your fellow book lovers.